Blasphemy. We are still under the subsection of shirk. Shirk, which has another name, ishraq. Actually, ishraq is the original name because the verb is ashraka. Ashraka yushriku. So then the original noun is going to be ishraq. Ishraq and so we said the shirk is the paganism or the polytheism. Now, polytheism means believing in more than one God. So what does that mean to some person? Believing in more than one God means to some person, for example, he believes in two gods. Someone believes in two gods. Someone believes in three gods. Someone believes in however many gods, like the Hindus. They worship the cows. They worship the monkeys. They worship the rats, etc. That's definitely polytheism. But some people, they believe that God is a body, a figure, and this is shirk. They would say, I only believe in one God. They would say, I'm not a polytheist. I believe in one God only. So then I'm going to say, then if you're not a polytheist, you're a pagan still. You're a pagan. For worshiping a body. And if they believe that God is a body in the sky, then that's an imaginary body at that. Could have been something else had he been worshiping an idol or a tree. Then it's not at least imaginary, it's real. He still does not deserve to be worshipped, though. So this one who believes that God is a man or a figure, a body, I'll even remove the word man. He believes that God is a body, someone who fills a space. Then he would deny being an idol worshiper. But he is, though. It's just it's an imaginary idol. It's no different from worshiping an action figure. This is going to be an idol. And he might deny being a polytheist because he says, I only believe in one God. So then I'm going to say, well, you're still a pagan, though. And the Arabic word is, for the one who believes like that, is he's a mushrik. So that's what shirk is. And the one who has such a belief, let's add here. Such a person is called a what? Mushrik. Has the meaning of making a partner, giving an associate. Think of a law firm. Don't they have in the law firm partners? Don't they have in the law firm associates? Shirk is to give God partners or to give him associates. And Yani, according to what's here, we started by mentioning the Thanawiyya, the dualists. They said there's two gods. Who are the two gods according to them? One who is light and creator of good, and one who is dark and the creator of evil. And according to them, these two gods meet in the middle. They meet in the middle. So one side is light and one side is dark, and their only edge is where they meet. And each one from his own side has no end. But where they meet is where they have an end or an edge. Now, this is what I have taken. I have never met a Thanawi, and I've never talked to one. And I never read any literature of theirs or anything. All what I'm saying is based on what I have learned. Wallahu a'lam. And the Christians, we talked about them last time, and we read this footnote here about the Trinity. We mentioned them after the Thanawiyya because they believe in a Trinity. So there could be a mushrik, he's a pagan who believes that he claims he believes there's one God, but to him that one God is a body. And likely it's an imaginary body. He's a mushrik. Then there are some mushriks, they believe in two gods. Then there are some mushriks, they believe in three gods, but they just play word games. And instead of saying three gods, they say one God with three personalities. Then there are mushriks who believe in many more than that. Ah, we have here the name of the mushrik. We have him, so we can remove this sentence here. I was surprised that I would have forgotten that. SubhanAllah. And we read here already, the greatest right of Allah upon his slaves is for them to recognize his oneness and not to give partners to him, not to give associates to him, not to give counterparts to him, not to give him contenders for worship, etc. So whoever practices shirk is a mushrik, he's a pagan. And then we talked about some of the different ones. Some of them worship idols with varying shapes, all sorts of shapes, and also of various material. They might worship idols made of wood, or made of stone, or made of metal, or even made of food. Then, if they get hungry, they would eat their idol. And in their mind, they probably think that's a good thing and makes sense. They would say, for I don't know, I'm imagining. How would someone think? You might say, look, here's my idol. He has blessed me with food, and then he will eat what he worships. Who knows? And some of them worshipped men, like the Pharaoh, and like Nimrod at the time of Abraham, and others. That's going to be the case of some of the people who are involved in some cults. They worship men. You said some even make the idol out of the cow dung. A'udhu billahi ta'ala. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Look what the shirk's going to do to you. And some of them worship beauty. Those are the hululiyah, a group of. They are here. A group of hululiyah. Not all the hululiyah worship beauty, but some people worship beauty and they are hululiyah. Hululiyah means the people who believe that God dwells within things. So these ones who worship beauty, they believe that God dwells in anything beautiful. But among the hululiyah are those who just believe that God dwells in things and that God dwells in them. And some scholars include amongst the hululiyah people who believe about themselves that they are God, that they are what some people have coined God bodies, like the so-called 5%ers. They call themselves God bodies. Some scholars count them as hululiyah, the likes of that. They count the likes of that as hululiyah. Yes, there are Christians who believe in hulul. Hulul, the creed of hulul transcends religions. Some worship the sun, some worship the moon, some worship the stars, like at the time of Abraham, alayhi salatu wasalam. Some worship specific stars, some worship the devil, that's clear for you. Devil worshippers, some worship cows, those are the Hindus, and who also worship rats and who worship other things. But what I don't know is if those are different sects of them. That's the impression I have. That amongst them are those who worship the cows, that's their sect. And amongst them are those who worship the rats, that's their sect. Uh, I don't know, though. It's not 100% clear for me if those are sects or, yani, if it's all the same for them. Do you know? It's all the same. Subhanallah. Barakallahu feekum. and many other things other than that. Not different sects. Subhanallah. Okay. And some worship the angels. And they said that the angels are the daughters of Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala said, Yani, these are the people whom Allah described when He said, إن الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة لا يسمون الملائكة تسمية الأنثى. Those who do not believe in the afterlife certainly give the angels the names of females. Yani, they say that the angels are females. There's a type of blasphemy, the scholars call it tashbih, which means likening or comparing. That's what the word itself means. So as a name of blasphemy, then it is specifically comparing God to the creations. So I started calling it God comparing. Tashbih is God comparing. And it is shirk. Tashbih is shirk. It's shirk 100%. It's just a name out of recognizing a particular regard. Meaning, regarding the fact that the one who believes like that is comparing God to something, then his kufr is called tashbih. But regarding that the one who believes like that is assigning a contender or an associate or partner with God, then his blasphemy is called shirk. Both of them are the same. Like describing Allah as an event, a hadith, yani a creation, something that happens, something that comes into being. So the Christians fall there too, because they said Jesus is their Lord and Savior, and then according to them, he was born. Or with vanishing, believing that God vanishes, or with being a body, and that's called tajsim, believing that God has a body. So in case not here, I'll put it now. So, or they believe in God having a body, which is called tajsim. Tajsim. Bodifying God. That word bodify, as far as I know, I made it up, but I'm going to stick to it though. That's Wahhabi creed, believing that God is a body, or believing that God has a shape or a color. Here's a footnote about bodifying God. Al-Bayadli said in the explanation of the statement of Abu Hanifa. Yani, Abu Hanifa said something and Al-Bayadli explained it. Here is the quote of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. من قال لا أعرف ربي أفي السماء أم في الأرض فهو كافر وكذا من قال إنه على العرش ولا أدري العرش أفي السماء أم في الأرض. Or ولا أدري العرش أفي السماء أم في الأرض. So this means that Abu Hanifa said, rahimahullah, whoever says, I do not know, is my Lord in the sky or on earth, then he is a blasphemer. And likewise, whoever says, he is certainly on the Arsh, but I do not know, is the Arsh in the sky or on the earth? So here, what are we talking about? We're talking about blasphemy. And we have now focused on the blasphemy of shirk. And we said that the blasphemy of shirk has also another name, which is tashbih, God comparing. And we said that amongst the God comparing is tajseem, bodifying God. So bodifying God is shirk and tashbih. Here is a statement of Abu Hanifa in which he deems the bodifier a blasphemer. The word body does not appear here in the statement. Let's see what Al-Bayadli has for us in his explanation. So Al-Bayadli rahimahullah, the Hanafi, he said, the second point, so that means there is something before. The second point is the charge of blasphemy for whoever utters tashbih and confirms containment. Saying, this is taken from the statement of Abu Hanifa, that if someone utters a statement of God comparing and confirms containment for Allah, then he is charged with blasphemy. Abu Hanifa signaled to that by the aforementioned judgment of whoever applies such an expression. This is what Imam al-Ash'ari chose also. Yes, that's true. For sure, al-Ash'ari deems the Mujassim a Kafir. Mujassim. Yani, let's add something here. Believing that God is a body, which is called Tajsim, bodifying God, and who believes like that is a Mujassim. But we already documented that in this book, alhamdulillah. That is in this book, if you recall. Sorry about that. We did mention that in this book that such a one is called a Mujassim. I just want to show you really quick. Where is that? If those likeners believe that Allah has a body, they are called Mujassimah. That's plural. Mujassimah. A single one is a Mujassim. If they believe that he is in a direction, they are called Jihawiyah. If they believe that God has a voice or makes a sound, they are called Sawtiyah. If they believe that God dwells within things, they are called Hululiyah. If they believe that God is merged with everything, that God and the creation are one and the same, they are called Ahlul Ittihad. In English, they're called pantheists. Okay.
Say that again, Sheikh.
In English, they're called pantheists. The people of Ittihad, they believe in what they call Al-Wahdatul Mutlaqah, the absolute oneness. That means they believe God and all the world is one and the same. And there's a word for that in English, pantheist. Panth, pantheism, believing that God is unified with the world. That's different from hulul. Hulul is to believe that God is inside something. Okay. So back to where we were here. That's under the section on likening, which is God comparing. Now we are here under shirk. So then, that's called tajsim, bodifying God. Whoever believes that is called a Mujassim. I'll remove it. It's in the book. And here's a footnote. So Imam Abu Hanifa said this statement: whoever says, I do not know, is my Lord in the sky or on earth, then he is a blasphemer. So that's the containment that Al-Bayaldi is talking about. Abu Hanifa deemed him as a kafir for confirming containment for Allah. And likewise, whoever says, he is certainly on the arsh, but I do not know, is the arsh in the sky or on the earth? And Al-Bayaldi says what's correct. This is what Imam al-Ash'ari chose also. He said in An-Nawadir, Abu al-Ash'ari, that is, whoever believes that Allah is a body, does not know his Lord, and is a blasphemer. As in the explanation of Al-Irshad by Abu al-Qasim al-Ansari. Yani you can find that documented there too. In Al-Khulasa, that's a book, it is said that if the Mushabbih says the exalted has a hand and foot like the slaves, he is a blasphemer. Yeah, that's clear. Because he said like the slaves. If he says he has a hand and foot like the slaves, he's a kafir. But if he says Allah has hand and Allah has qadam, then that's not enough for us to sorry. If he says Allah has yad, I'm going to say yad in Arabic. If someone says Allah has yad in Arabic and qadam in Arabic, and he does not say like the slaves, he only says yad and qadam, then that's not enough to deem him as a kafir. But if he said like the slaves, then for sure he's a kafir, even if he said the Arabic word yad and qadam. But what if he says Allah has yad and qadam, not like the slaves, unlike the slaves? That's what he says. But he says, but we do take it literally, and it is not permissible to give it an alternative interpretation. Then he's a kafir. Because when he says we take it literally and it's not permissible to give it an alternative interpretation, then he is saying it's like the slaves. Because we have a literal yad and a literal qadam without an alternative interpretation. Al-Bayaldi also said the fourth point. So also, it's paraphrasing here, yani we're skipping some things, is the rejection of those who deny the blasphemy of the likeners without restriction. The rejection of those who deny the blasphemy of the God comparers without restriction, like some people today. They say, no, there's a difference in opinion here, akhi. Some of the imams, they said the one who confirms that Allah is in a direction is not a kafir. That's what they say. That's complete blunder. The rejection of those who deny the blasphemy of the likeners without restriction, saying that the one who says that he is a body is mistaken about that and that he's not a blasphemer. That's what some people are saying today. In an effort to kiss the backside of Wahhabis and to fight the Sheikh and his group. Rahimahumullah. They say because his statement does not conform with its own implication, as Al-Baqillani chose according to the explanation of Al-Irshad. this part, its statement does not conform with its own implication. I'll need to check the Arabic here. But what's going to be, how would a person escape blasphemy in this case? And who said what is not proof? This is where you can't get caught up here. You can write it. Barakallahu feek. Yeah, write it for me, please. What could be not blasphemy in this realm when the person does not know what the word body means? He thinks, for example, body means existing. I have met people like that. I'm talking in English, and they're talking here in Arabic. Here they're talking about things that were said in Arabic. If someone said, Allahu jismun la kal ajsam, a body not like other bodies. They don't know, if they don't know what jism means, they think this statement means Allah is existing, not like existing things. So then we're not going to deem him as a kafir for his lack of comprehension. Now it says here, Al-Baqilani chose this according to the explanation of Al-Irshad. And it says Al-Amidi also chose that in Al-Abkar. Now, how someone's going to argue with us here is going to say, well, what do you say about Al-Baqilani? What are you going to say about Al-Amidi? So what I'm going to say is, whatever they said, if they really said it or they didn't say it, is not going to change the rule. If someone believes that Allah is a body, he is indeed a kafir, for sure, 100%, unequivocally, with no doubt. It does not matter who said otherwise. So now, if he thinks he's onto something, how he's going to try to argue with me or discredit me is to say, look what he says about Al-Baqilani. Look what he says about Al-Amidi. And what I'm going to say to him is, well, I'm going to argue with you about the proofs, not who said what. Al-Baqilani, he is not in himself a proof in a religion. I'm going to argue with you about the proofs from the Quran and from the hadiths. You're going to argue with me that Fulan said, and then challenge me to try to get me to commit to calling Fulan a kafir. If I don't commit to calling Fulan a kafir, then you're going to argue with me here to say, for example, I'm wishy-washy or something like this. And I'm going to say you are wishy-washy for avoiding the actual proof and trying to put Fulan as a shield for your deviance. Whatever Fulan said, then whatever he said, then the judgment of whatever he said applies to him. I don't have to confirm it or deny it. If anyone said it, if anyone said Allah is a body, he's a kafir. If anyone said whoever believes that Allah is not a body is not a kafir, he is a kafir. Anyone. Based on the proofs. So that's why you need to study well, brothers and sisters, so that you can argue from the perspective of the proofs, not from the perspective of the names. That's the argument of the people of fallacies. What do you say about Fulan then? إِذَا مَاذَا تَقُولُ فِي فُلَان? Then what do you say about so-and-so? What I say about so-and-so is the rule applies to him too. That's what I say. The Arabic statement قال ذهابا إلى أن القائل بأنه جسم غالط فيه غير كافر لأنه لا يضطرد قوله بموجبه.
بموجبه سيدي.
بموجبه.
I think and I think بموجبه works also, but anyways, it's what it means. It's what it means. What some would say لازم المذهب ليس بمذهب هنا. You know,
Yeah,
that's what they.
yeah, yeah. Barakallahu feek.
وفيك سيدي كأن أريد أن أعقب شيئا زيد
Yeah,
شيئا. I would like to add something if you would allow me.
yeah, please.
آه، هنا الشيخ علم الدين ذكر لنا أن في هذا المعرض كأنه أن أبا منصور البغدادي في أصول الدين ذكر طائفة من الكرامية يفهمون من لفظ الجسم معنى لائقا بالله. قال هو إطلاق فيه، قال الشيخ علم الدين هو إطلاق فيه تعد، هم آثمون. لكنهم
إطلاق
قال
فيه
أبو
ماذا؟
منصور
غموض.
فيه تعد exaggeration or
أها.
من التعدي.
نعم.
قال أبو منصور لكنهم يفهمون أن الله ذات لا كالذوات، موجود لا كالموجودات. يعني هذا وجد فيما مضى. كانوا يفهمون من لفظ جسم أنه موجود،
نعم.
لا أنه جسم بمعنى ما.
Yeah.
لعل البعض حمل كلام بعض هؤلاء على ذلك، يعني حمل كلام الباقلاني ربما على هذا بعضهم.
Yeah.
فهمت مرادي سيدي؟
نعم فهمت.
جزاك الله خير.
آمين وإياكم. Yeah, there is there are, okay, so here's an issue. Some people, they didn't understand what jism means. Jism, which means body. So they thought jism or body means existing. So they said Allah is jism, lak al ajsam, body, not like other bodies, or a body like a body unlike the bodies. And they thought this means existing unlike existing things, other existing things. Okay, so they are mistaken about the meaning of body. From here, some scholars said a statement that some people could misunderstand about the one who says that Allah has a body not necessarily being a kafir. And they meant these ones. That the one who said Allah has a body is not necessarily a kafir, they meant these ones who don't know what body means. They did not mean absolutely. So we can check the statements of Al-Baqillani or whoever else has some statements according to what's documented here. And we'll see what did they say. But look here. What if someone said, but you're going to call Al-Baqillani a kafir? What if someone said, look, Al-Baqillani said it, and you're going to call him kafir? I'm going to say to him, you yourself are agreeing that there's a difference in opinion anyway. So according to those who have a different opinion, he is committing blasphemy. According to you, you are saying that there's difference in opinion. According to you, some said he's a kafir, and some said he's not a kafir. And now your trick is to argue with me to say, what do I say about Al-Baqillani? As if you want to say, it's as if you want to say, some said it's kufr, some said it's not kufr, but it's not really kufr because Al-Baqillani said it. What do you say about Al-Baqillani? It's like that's what his argument is. So even according to you, there's a difference in opinion. So according to those who don't agree with that, they're going to say it's kufr. So he says, Al-Amidi also chose that in Al-Abkar. He said in its epilogue that the charge of blasphemy is only mandatory if he says that Allah has a body like other bodies. This is not true, Al-Bayaldi says. Yani, Al-Bayaldi, the Hanafi, in his book is published, we agree with him here. What he is saying, we agree with. This is not true. Yani, this is not accurate. Al-Bayaldi says, in fact, Al-Amidi's statements contradict each other. In the chapter of Tanzih, in this same book of his, as well as in his book Al-Mana'ih, he said, whoever ascribes him with being a body, and some of them said he is a body, i.e., that he exists unlike other bodies, as is the case of some of the Karramiyah, and some said he has the image of a beardless young man, and some said he has the image of a sheikh whose hair is graying, what they call peppered hair. All of that is blasphemy, ignorance about the Lord, and explicit ascription of imperfection to him. So Al-Bayaldi says here that Al-Amidi, he also has a statement that complies with what we are saying. So Al-Amidi has discrepancy in his statements, conflicting statements. One statement that complies with what we say, and he has another statement that on face value does not comply with what we say. Sheikh Abdul Rahman Ammash said that the Sheikh said, Al-Amidi contradicted what he said in another place. Yani, this, what I'm reading to you now, this statement of the Sheikh, it's in the footnote, in the explanation of An-Nasafi. It's there in the footnote, printed. Why I'm saying Sheikh Abdul Rahman Ammash said that the Sheikh said it, because when I took it, it wasn't in the footnote yet. So it was just a talaqqi. It was at the time when I took this, just a mere talaqqi, not yet printed. So I took it from Sheikh Abdul Rahman and wrote it. We did, everyone who was in the class. So that's how I have it recorded like this. So the Sheikh said Al-Amidi contradicted what he said in another place. Because he said in one place that whoever said that Allah has a body unlike bodies does not blaspheme. This is because he understands from that person that he denies that Allah has a body by saying unlike bodies. So that's it right there. When he said a body unlike bodies, that's the meaning here. That explains. So where's the statement here? The fourth point is the rejection of those who deny the blasphemy of the likeners without restriction, saying that the one who says that he is a body is mistaken about that. And he's not a blasphemer because his statement does not conform with its own implication, which is when he said, unlike bodies, he is a body, unlike bodies. So they're saying, how he's going to say he's a body, unlike bodies? So then they didn't deem him as a kafir. They're saying, in other words, he doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't know what he's saying. And that he did not claim that Allah was a body by virtue of saying unlike bodies. Al-Amidi, the Shaykh is saying, what Al-Amidi means by not deeming someone a kafir for saying this is that when he said unlike bodies, he is denying that Allah has a body. Therefore, he doesn't know what body means, actually. And so his saying body is taken to mean existing. This is what he said in one place, and it is weak. This statement is weak saying. This defense of that one who said that corrupt statement is a weak defense. If he said that Allah has a body unlike bodies, he is a blasphemer. This is what's correct. This ruling relates to specific people who existed. Yani, it's not broad statement to say whoever says Allah has a body unlike bodies is not a kafir. That's wrong. Rather, there were some people, in particular, their case was that when they said that statement, they meant he exists unlike existing things. Not that this is broad case for anyone who says it, he has the same judgment. It is not taken as an assumption that the person who says Allah has a body unlike bodies, we don't assume that he means Allah is existing unlike existing things. Furthermore, if someone says that Allah has a body and he stops, just says Allah has a body only, then more so he is judged as a blasphemer. This one is for sure kafir. Whoever says Allah has a body and he doesn't say more, he is a kafir. There are no details in this case according to the people of truth. However, according to the Wahhabiyah, may the dam of Allah be upon them, he is a real body with a place. That place is the direction of above, according to them. To them, he moves and is still, as well as other things. Goes up and down. He touches. He has emotions. He smiles, etc. This is merely a cover. For them to say he is not like bodies is merely a cover so that no one would talk about them. They say, unlike bodies, the Wahhabis. According to their claim, whoever believes that Allah is a body, however, he differs from other bodies in some way, then this is the truth. That's their creed. How do we know that's Wahhabi creed? Because they give you examples. They will say, well, Allah, if we say he has a hand, doesn't mean it's like our hand. Because is your hand like a monkey hand? Is your hand like a squirrel hand? Is your hand like a clock's hand? Is your hand like an ant's hand? This is what they say. They say, likewise, Allah's hand is not like anyone's hand. Right there, this exact analogy means, yani, without him realizing that he believes that Allah has a body part. So they do, when they say body unlike bodies, they do believe he's a body. They just believe he's a different kind of body. They say, is your eye like a cat eye? Is your eye like an octopus eye? Is your eye like a fly eye? No. They say, therefore, Allah's eye is not like our eye. That's blasphemy. Those people are mushabbiha, God comparers. This is blasphemy in reality according to Ahlus Sunnah. Those people have no proof, etc. And the quote keeps going. So tashbih is shirk. It includes believing that God happens or vanishes or is a body or has a color or a shape. Some believe that Allah dwells in bodies. So those are the people of hulul. We just said that. Or they believe that he is in beautiful shapes or beautiful things. Those are also the hululiyah, group of them. Similar is to believe that the entire world is God. That's the pantheism. World here means everything in existence, all creation, which is amongst the most abhorrent of blasphemies, because it's a type of atheism, actually. Believing that God is dwelling in your body or that God and the creation are one and the same, it's a variation of atheism. Among the examples of this type of blasphemy is believing that Allah is an illumination or a soul. The Shaykh also documents as cases of objecting to Allah by saying, why would he punish a slave for what he willed for the slave to do? So that's a very nice case there. The Shaykh says, when someone says, why would Allah punish a slave for what he willed for the slave to do? The Shaykh said, that's tashbih itself, likening Allah to the creations. SubhanAllah. May Allah have mercy on the Shaykh. And also, he said, another example of tashbih is for someone to say, my Shaykh has 99 names for getting the prayers answered. And we'll stop there. And next is to talk about destiny denial, because that is also a kind of shirk. And when someone denies destiny, then he believes in many gods. So we talked about the pagan who worships his imagination. He believes that God is one God in the sky, a body. He's a mushrik. We talked about the Thanawiyah. They believe in two gods. They are mushriks. We talked about the Christians. They believe in three gods, though they reword that into saying one God with three personalities. They are mushriks. And inshallah, we're going to talk about the destiny deniers. They believe that all the humans and jinn and angels and animals, including all vermin, have the power to create, which is the attribute of God exclusively. And so they are mushriks too. And their shirk is many, many times multiplied. in terms of the intensity of blasphemy. What does the last phrase mean exactly? Last phrase, which is if someone said, my sheikh has 99 names for getting the prayers answered, yeah, that's going to be the statement of a person who thinks he's a Sufi. And so he says stupid things like this. Maybe his own sheikh told him that, so he believes it. Or maybe the people of his perverted tariqah say this, so he says it. Question, where is the tashbih in these two cases? When someone says, why would Allah punish the slave for what he willed for the slave to do? Where's the tashbih? Good question. The tashbih is that the point of the objection is believing that that what pertains to the slave pertains to Allah. He doesn't see that Allah can do whatever he willed to do. He doesn't see that Allah is entitled to do whatever he willed. Rather, he sees that Allah is like the slave who must refrain from something and who must do something. The one who says, why would Allah punish a slave for what he willed for the slave to do? He believes that Allah has obligations and prohibitions. So that's how he is a God comparer. And the one who says his sheikh has 99 names for getting the prayers answered, then yani, who has 99 names for getting the prayers answered? Allah Ta'ala. So it's like he's saying, my sheikh is like Allah. They claim to be Ash'aris, and they cling to the saying of a non-protected imitator, a person who is not impeccable. And this person who's not impeccable, his statement can be taken in more than one way, and they use that to say that a person who says Allah has a body is not a kafir, instead of relying on the explicit evidence from the impeccable Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa subhanallahi wa bihamdihi.